This is the Best or Worst Podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Koji Stephen Sakai and M. Martin Mapoma.
This is the Best or Worst Podcast. I am Martin.
And I am Mr. Koji Sakai.
Oh, you sound so cool when you do that. Anyway, all right, and this is episode number 69. All right. Best or Worst Podcast. Our society is so focused on celebrity, we sometimes forget that regular people lead interesting lives too. Best or worst moment of your life. Host Koji Stephen Sakai.
Me.
That's you. And M. Martin Mapoma, that's me, are here to let your story out. We put people on the spot. What are you going to hear? Well, it could be funny, it could be poignant, it could be sad. You'll know when we know. Best or Worst Podcast is a twice-weekly podcast. On Tuesdays, we get to know our guests, and on Thursdays, we find out their best or worst moment.
Today is
right.
Thursday. We just
Thursday.
got to know Tom on the last episode. Just to go over things, Tom is a writer, director, producer, actor, and everything else, and dad. And unfortunately, he's a UCLA fan, which is
go UCLA.
Not everyone could be perfect, right? So that's the thing. But
go UCLA.
But this is the episode where we ask people about their best worst moment. So Martin, do you want to make the decision?
You know what?
And while you think, let me tell Tom the rules, and that way you can give us some thoughts.
Okay.
Something happened in Martin's back. So Tom, don't choose something that's obviously like meeting your wife or having your children is a really great moment. It's obviously. So something that should be obviously or the death of somebody important to you. Those are kind of big moments, obviously. And those are kind of the moments we tell people, those are great moments, but is there something that really changed your life or changed your momentum or stuff that you still think about to this day? It could be a moment, it could be a serious moment, it could be whatever you think, whatever works. So Martin, what have you given it any thought?
Yeah, I want to hear his best.
No, dude, it's always the best with you.
It is?
You always do the best. So why don't we do the worst? Let's do the worst.
You know why I do that though? Because of what's going on with my dad. I just
Okay. Because of that, I'll go with you on this one. But
I promise. I hate to say
the next person I hate to say
it. It'll probably be the last one I ask for the best.
Okay, good. There you go. All right, so Tom, let's hear your best moment or day or whatever you think.
Oh man, well, every day is the best moment. I think that I think one of the things that kind of stick in my mind is when I first screened my first feature film at a festival. I just coming out of film school. I had actually the films. I went to LMU Film School, and I had told the faculty that for my thesis I'd be making a 60-minute film. I ended up shooting a feature without telling them. They weren't too happy about that. But I ended up finishing it, and I didn't know what I had. I was just like this guy at a film school, and I ended up getting into the Los Angeles Asian American Film Festival, which is a big festival for me. I always wanted to go there. I didn't get to get in there for any of my shorts except for one. So we had set it up. It was at a theater. It was actually going to be screened at a theater, and I had no idea what it was going to be like. And so I told the cast and crew to come. I just figured I'd just go, and whatever happened. And then when I went, it was just like the theater was packed. It was just had filled the whole theater, and I just I had worked for over a year and a half on the film, doing everything for it. I was acting in it, I had written it, I was directing it. I had to order the catering for it. I was producing it, doing everything for it. And so it was nothing, but it was it consumed my life for a whole year. And then to be here and to see it all filled up, I was like, oh, this is great. And then I step inside, I'm like, oh, what if people thinks it sucks? And then it was just automatically, that nervousness came in, holy crap, what's going to happen here? What if people fall asleep? And it's what's going to happen? Because I really had no idea what the response was going to be. I just kind of made it. And then, when the lights went out, the film started, and then, into it starts out with kind of a joke, and just hearing the whole audience, the whole room just just erupt in laughter. It was just like such a relief, just that high, you guys probably get it as an actor and you as a filmmaker, Koji, when you get in there, you actually see people respond to it live. It's like such a validation, and then, the whole film, people were like obviously into it. And then, people were kind of crying towards the end at some scenes. And it was just wow, and then,
Wait, so Tom, what was the which movie is it? Is it Fine? No, I mean not Fine Me, but it's
called Freshman.
Freshman, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Freshman,
yeah.
Okay.
It's on DVD, and some people. One of the people that are in it is a young Cal Penn, who I cast before.
Really?
Yeah. He and I are friends to this day. In fact, he's attached for my as a small in my next film that's coming out. And so, but yeah, it was just afterwards they had a Q&A, and it was a standing ovation, and ended up winning the audience award for the festival. But that day it was just like, you just don't know. You're working, you're in an edit room all day, like just cutting things in a vacuum, not knowing what you're making is going to make a difference, or people are going to like it, or even if you're going to like it, and to get out there with all after putting all that work in, and like seeing the response that happened, that the people responding to it and obviously being affected by it, was just like it was a feeling like I'd never had before, and it was a really great day, and it made me feel like I can do this. I think that was the main thing too. It was just like that night afterwards, of just like, I can do this. I can make movies, and whether or not I'll be successful or not, make money or whatever, I don't know. But like, at least I know I can make movies that people like, and that was a big deal for me. So
what year was this?
This was this was probably 2001, maybe.
2001. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Freshman was black and white, right?
No, it was color. It was all
color.
60mm film. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why did I think it was black and white?
Because it was so long ago. It's like, I'm sure all your flashbacks from that long ago is
no, I'm thinking your web series. Sorry, I'm thinking your web series.
Oh yeah, that was Unusual Targets. Yeah.
That's awesome. So did your parents come to the movie?
They did not. That was in Los Angeles. That was still back when my mom was still sending me articles about how I could like transfer to Stanford or something. Yeah, they didn't really care about it, and it wasn't until like I got interviewed in a Chinese newspaper that I sent it to them. That my mom actually said, "Oh, look," it gave some legitimacy to it, I guess, if the review was in Chinese. But yeah, it was, I think a long time ago I knew that like my parents, I cannot hope for the validation of my parents and not to worry about it. And then my brother that year I think also got into med school, my younger brother. And so I got them off my back a little bit about, at least we got a doctor. So like, whatever he does, I don't care. So that helped a little bit too. So yeah.
Well, wait, what screening? Where did they do the screening, at the DGA or somewhere else?
They actually did it at the theater right next to VC.
The one in the Airtani?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
the really big one.
Yeah,
oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow! So were you the closing?
No, I wasn't. It was just a screening, because like I think all the closing openings were in the DGA, and so they did a screening in there, and the thing was full.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that was amazing. It's, that the festival has a really great following, and it's just like, it's just nice to be in a festival. It's always nice to be in a festival where people are just going to come out. You don't have to worry about like advertising or like kind of telling people about it. It's like people will just come. And I think the other thing that actually went along with that was it also screened at CAM, the Bay Area Asian American Film Festival, and Variety reviewed it actually. And so like,
wow,
I didn't even know they reviewed it. So like the next day, like I got calls from people saying, "Hey, you're in Variety?" Like, what? And and the guy actually liked the film. So it was a good opening experience for them.
Well, and what was Freshman about?
It's about 4 college freshmen, just their first quarter in college, a UCLA type school. And so one's African American, one's Asian American, and the 2 other are Caucasian. And so, I really wanted to do like a diverse cast. and and kind of share my experience of what it's like for me.
So you're the one director that likes diversity. Okay.
Is that?
So you like a diverse cast. I'm like, oh, you're the one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, actually, a lot of your movies are really diverse. As an Asian American filmmaker, it is really interesting because I think even people of color, when they make diversity, a lot of that diversity is like for example, Asian American filmmakers have Asian Americans and white people.
Yep.
Or African American filmmakers have African Americans and white people.
Yep.
Or Latino filmmakers have Latinos and white people.
Yep.
And it's like a lot of times the idea of diversity for people of color, filmmakers, is like, I just want to be accepted into the white world, where they forget about like other groups of people.
Yeah.
And so I've always admired that about your work, Tom, is that it's always been really diverse.
Yeah, I made a very pointed, a long time ago, I made a pointed mission of mine to just any films that I make personally, that I'm making myself, it's going to be a diverse cast, not just all Asian American, not just, I wanted to see America the way I see America, which is, people of all cultures, like, being together and I think, a lot of my films also deal with identity. So like Freshman and Why Am I Doing This? That's my second feature. It really deals with race identity, like, what's it like to be an Asian American? What's it like to be a Black actor? Those kind of things. But with Find Me, my last film, I made a pointed decision to make it diverse, but not make it about identity at all. Like, I didn't want to mention anything about the fact, like, it stars an Asian American, a Latin, a Latino sisters, and also has African American Black actress who's very prominent in it. But they don't ever talk about like, hey, I'm Black, or like I'm Asian, or whatever. It's like, it's just stories about America, these four Americans who happen to be these colored. And it was great for me to see people not mention anything about race. Like, they just enjoyed the film for the characters, like they enjoy the characters who they are. No one ever said like, oh, I really thought this, the fact that you made it Asian is great. It wasn't, just like, it just happened this guy was Asian. And that just made me very hopeful that like, we could just still make diverse films and like, not always have to be about, about this person being this color or this race. We're just American, and that's what I think we're all fighting for.
Although I think that's why I make movies with all Asian people, because when I look around, everyone is. Asian. I grew up in all Asian neighborhoods, so.
And I was the opposite. I grew up in.
You're just representing what you know, Koji.
Exactly.
Exactly. And it's funny because like I grew up in Fremont in the Bay Area, and when I was there, it was primarily primarily white. So I grew up with like this Asian complex. And then after about 10 years, it became all Asian, like to the point that my school that I went to was so all Asian that they couldn't field the football team. That's but the chess team was really good. But my younger cousins went to that school, and it's just interesting to see like I grew up with this this Asian inferiority complex, but like I think Koji, like it's not even a thought for them, like like being Asian. As far as like being around other Asians, like
well, I mean that's why like it's always interesting, because I knew that like I'd look at TV or film and there weren't Asian Americans or Asians on TV, but I'm like, I look around me and everyone that I admired or looked up to or wanted to be like was Asian.
Yep.
And so it didn't bother me. I never had an issue about
except Tupac.
Except Tupac, but Tupac was Tupac and Wu-Tang were Asian in my mind. But like it was never an issue in that like I never had like a thing where I was worried about, like being like other. That's why actually the first time I was in felt like a film meeting at a studio, I remember I saw an Asian American, and I was used to like other Asians being like my ally. And I remember back then it was like there's so few of us that like they didn't want to be Asian because they didn't want to be seen as like doing Asian projects.
Right.
And I was very shocked by that. I was like, wait, we're not brothers? Like I thought we're brothers. I thought we were like, but then it turned out we're not. But it was always interesting. But Martin, do you have any other questions for Tom?
You know what? You actually just answered my question. I was about diversity. He answered it himself, because he talked about diversity, and I was going to ask him if you always wanted to have diversity in your films. Yeah. Tom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because
especially after Freshman, I wrote for TV for a while, which was a great job. But like I think I wrote for sitcoms, network sitcoms, and they were less interested about diversity. about like, and I didn't want to fight. I wasn't there to fight them about that. I would say my piece about it, but I wasn't there to fight them about it because it wasn't my show, but like it really drove me further to like keep writing stuff of my own that had that diversity in there.
Yeah.
That kind of further like fueled me to like, to keep that objective.
Well, it's funny, when I moved here as an actor, I moved here in 2003 pretty much. And I remember going to the diversity showcases at, all the big studios, and I was just how interesting they were back then. Yeah. But it was, it's funny because, auditioning for a lot of small movies, I think I've even told Koji, it was amazing how, a lot of young directors, including a few that I know personally, would talk about, the minute as a working actor when they first came here, I said, hey, how come you never talking about being in one of your movies? And they're always like, well, and you could see they were like, well, if we cast you, we have to change the whole script kind of thing, because yeah, it was so, God, man, it was. It's the whole diversity thing in movies is a hot button, and they even go into like big agencies and with 300 or 400 clients, and having the the agent who was friends with good friends with my manager saying, oh man, you know what, we have our one black guy. And I always wondered how much of that was just them saying they weren't interested. And I had friends say, no, dude, you could be the best actor in the world, but they'll just if they have one guy they're pushing, they feel that's one guy they're pushing, they can't push two.
Yeah, that's
even though one of the the other guy is 70-year-old actor.
Yeah.
And and I'm a 30-year-old actor. We're seen in the same vein. Or I remember having the agency. Huh?
That's the thing, is it's like there's a huge black market. There's a huge Latino market. I wouldn't say there's a huge Asian market, but like Latino American and Black American market. It's like huge. Like people are hungry for. That's why Tyler Perry is doing so well.
Now they are.
Yeah, no, they've always been. That's the thing.
Yeah, but no one wants to recognize it.
But no one wanted to explore that. It's like there should be more. There should be movies and roles for people. And
although I do think that there's I think TV has changed a lot over the last 5 years.
It has.
I mean, there's a lot more diverse. Film is still not very diverse at all, but TV is definitely much more diverse than it was before. I mean, there are a lot more open. I mean, I'm pitching a lot of Asian TV shows, Asian-centric TV shows, and it's a lot more open than it was even 2 or 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
I'm watching something now. I can't remember what it was. It was a TV show on Netflix. I was looking at the show and I realized there wasn't one main central character that was white, and I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy. Yeah. And it was I can't remember what show was that. I can't remember what it was, but I know it was Asian, Black, Latino, and whether it was interesting.
And we have the Netflix 2000 machine to thank for that. Honestly, it's like Netflix doesn't decide their films by how good it is. They put it through their machine, and the machine is saying hey, we don't have any all Asian cast, soap operas. We don't have any Black comedies, that involve science fiction. We need that to feed that niche, because there's all these niche that that I think Netflix explores networks do not, that bring in a lot of subscribers.
Well, because they're long tail.
Yeah, and it feeds it big time.
Yep, absolutely. And
although it really does.
Netflix is going through a lot now, though, so they're gonna through some retraction here. Yeah, because just the model doesn't. Just if you look at their model, it doesn't work. You can't make $100 million movie. How do you make that money back? How in the world are you going to make that money back?
Yeah, well, no, I think it was working for a while, but now it's starting to catch up. A, because there's more competition, and B, because they can't keep getting money from people and not getting paying the money back.
Yeah, well, but their model originally worked in that they were going to
they were getting subscribers like crazy.
Well, but they're also getting 100 films for $10,000.
Yeah.
They were getting they were getting from the aggregators, right? They weren't getting they weren't making their own movies or making their own shows. And so if you were getting all those, then you're able to kind of really get niche. But now the problem is if you spend 50 or 10 million on a one episode, it's that's impossible to make your money back at that point, because you're not getting any advertising, you're not doing any kind of. But anyway, sorry, this is the weeds for everybody who's not in entertainment. But thank you so much, Tom. I really loved. Yeah, it's been awesome. Really loved your moment. It's actually funny because you made me, when I was listening to your moment, it made me think about the first time that I screened something, and my mom being with me and how much it did mean to me, and
that's
how
awesome.
and just being like, wow, this is like for real, right? This is like a real moment, and this is like my career is real, even if I didn't like the movie or I liked it, whatever. It's just being like at a place where somebody, but actually mine was a little bit different in that it was like the first time I was on a set. I'm different because I'm not a director like you. So like the first time I was on set and just walking around and being like, wow, all these people here are working for something that I wrote.
Yeah.
That's a really awesome moment to me. But thank you so much. Just like last episode, we're asking people to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast. Believe me, it makes a difference when you subscribe to our podcast.
Yes, it does. Please subscribe. Please
go wherever. Subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube or watching this on Facebook, please go to wherever you normally normally get your podcasts, and please subscribe. We're on all of them, including now recently Amazon Music. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Tom, so much for both episodes, and thank you, Martin, and
thank you, Koji.
Out, guys.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace.
Take it easy. Thank you.